Hello, good morning. You are watching Ireland AM from lovely Limerick. I am here this morning in the Treaty County from the International Rugby Experience right on O'Connell Street. What a hell of a view up here. We are going to be celebrating everything that is good about sport and the values and everything good about the game of rugby today. And you can't have a rugby experience without having a couple of rugby legends as well. So I'm going to be talking to Irish legends, Keith Wood, Brian O'Driscoll, South African World Cup winners Bryan Habana, Francois Pienaar. We're also going to discuss the women's game with Ciara Griffin, and she's going to be putting me through a few challenges, and it's going to be in a pretty spectacular setting. I tell you what, Muireann, this is your neck of the woods. I'm pretty much blown away. I've never seen it from so high. It looks pretty impressive.
Certainly does.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful. Maybe you just need to be on a height looking at Limerick.
This is how dare you. How dare you. And Tommy, have you been welcomed into the bosom of Limerick people with open arms?
Listen, whenever I played rugby down in Limerick, it was the worst place to come and play because, yeah, I wasn't welcomed with open arms. But certainly this morning, everybody's been very nice. And hopefully we continue that till at least 10 o'clock anyway.
Yeah, that's it. Then they'll be like, can you get out? Please, just get in the tunnel. Get the hell out of here.
And of course, another rugby legend in Limerick this morning with all the others. Tommy Bowe, the rugby legend that he is.
Well, it was meant to be Alan going down, but Tommy fought him for it because he got to stay in Adair Manor. But he was like, I want to talk to Francois Pienaar. I want to talk to Brian Habana.
No idea who those people are.
Tommy will be with you in just a little while. Have a lovely, lovely morning. We'll be chatting to you very soon.
Thanks, Tommy. And lots on the way from Limerick, as you said, right throughout the morning. And, of course, back here in studio.
Later on this hour, we're actually going to be hearing about the cramped conditions in Irish prisons as the system reaches capacity, which is what you don't want to hear when you're talking about prisons, really. That's coming up at 7:45.
And after 8, wellness coach and the Good Glow podcaster Georgie Crawford is dropping by for a chat.
Plus, this is the stuff of childhood dreams. These things look amazing. We're going to be meeting the woman making a living out of Lego. It's so cool.
And I love
it.
I love the fact that kids are getting back into it as well. Getting off the pads and just going playing. Something that we all did
a big
years.
deal.
And yeah, it's coming back big
cool.
time.
Yep.
Now, Derek is also in Limerick this morning. Derek, it looks like it's a beautiful morning there. What's it going to be like for the day?
Yeah. Good morning, team. Well, while Tommy and all the gang are at the very tippy top, look at that. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? The brand new Rugby International Experience building. They're up there. I'm down here in the heart of O'Connell Street in Limerick. A bit of a showery start through the northwest out to this morning, but plenty of hazy sunshine, especially across eastern and southern parts. But guys, we're really looking forward to this morning because it's T versus D. We have got a rugby challenge coming your way. Now, Tommy, obviously an ex-international pro. I'm a keen amateur, so I'm going to give him a run for his money. I'll do our best. And look, I'm in green. Limerick-a-boo.
Boo, fair play to you. It's lovely. I know Derek will get in, a fine Limerick man himself. We've been waiting in Limerick for 5 years for that to open, watching it go up and up and up and up.
Looks very impressive.
And Tommy Bowe's going to get in before everybody else.
There we go.
For everyone in
It's opening
Limerick.
this morning at 9:30.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. I hope you have a great time there. Now it's time to check in with the news for the first time this morning and say hello to Anne O'Donnell.
Thanks, Muireann. Good morning. Well, the two warring factions in Sudan have agreed in principle to a 7-day ceasefire and peace talks. Well, the truce will come into effect from tomorrow. That's according to Sudan's foreign ministry. And there have been outbreaks of violence despite a string of temporary truces over the past week. The UN now says that more than 100,000 people have fled to neighbouring countries. The former US President Donald Trump is expected to touch down in Ireland today after his visit to Scotland. Well, Mr. Trump is expected to land at Shannon Airport before heading to County Clare for a 24-hour pit stop.
Donald Trump has been in Scotland since Monday and he's due to leave there shortly for Ireland. His aircraft expected to land at Shannon Airport later today. He's been visiting his 2 golf resorts in Scotland, and his visit to Ireland will see him travel to his golf resort in Doonbeg in County Clare. The last time Mr. Trump was in County Clare was in 2019, when he was the President of the United States. This time he's here as a private citizen, but he's a declared candidate for the 2024 presidential contest, and there's expected to be a significant security operation in place. In recent weeks, Mr. Trump has pleaded not guilty to a number of charges around allegations of a hush payment to an adult film star before his election as president in 2016. Separately this week, a New York court has been hearing evidence in a civil case taken by writer E. Jean Carl against him. She's suing Mr. Trump, accusing him of raping her in the 1990s and then defaming her when he denied her claim. Mr. Trump has not attended this week's trial and has vigorously denied the claims. Marie Mulcahy, Virgin Media News.
Well, members of the Irish Nurses and Midwives organisation will hold their annual conference in Killarney in County Kerry today. The cost of living increases, housing, hospital overcrowding and safety in the workplace are among the issues up for discussion. Well, in the US, police say a man accused of killing 5 of his neighbours in Texas has been caught after a 4-day-long manhunt. 38-year-old Francisco Oropeza was found hiding in a house about 17 miles away from where the murders took place.
The suspect is in custody. I have just left Montgomery County Jail where he was taken, and he has been magistrated. He now will be taken to my jail and where his new residence will be.
The tip for the suspect's location came in through the FBI's tip line, and we just want to thank the person who had the courage and bravery to call in the suspect's location.
And finally, for now, London is gearing up for the coronation of King Charles this weekend. Well, Charles and Camilla, the Queen Consort, will be crowned at Westminster Abbey on Saturday in a religious ceremony. The coronation is expected to be shorter and less extravagant than the 3-hour ceremony that installed Queen Elizabeth II in 1953.
We compare 14 insurance quotes to get you the best deal. So choose chill and work smarter, not harder.
Thank you, Ger. And a very good morning. We're live here in the heart of Limerick City here at the moment. That is the brand spanking new International Rugby Experience building. We have got a rugby challenge. You're going to love what we have for you this morning. That's all coming your way in and around 8:35. Now, let's take an open look at weather together with Kerry's finest, Reggie McCron, with us on cameras this morning. And it is a dry and settled start down here in the Treaty City at the moment, but plenty of showers scraping their way through parts of Donegal and into northern Mayo. But elsewhere, holding mainly dry and settled now in those moderate to locally fresh southeasterly winds. Now across today, in fact, those winds will pick up pace a little bit stronger onto the southwestern coast, and right across your Wednesday it looks like that mixture of hazy sunshine with some scattered showers once again pulling in through parts of the west and across southern sections. Temperatures in and around 12 to 16, possibly even 17 degrees in some parts. Across into tonight then, it is mainly dry and settled. We will see that cloud then build through the southwest. We are expecting a couple of hit and miss showers with plenty of rain. In fact, a risk of spot flooding then on the cards as we work our way into your Thursday, with values back to about 5 to 11 degrees. So that's how we're shaping up here in a cloudy but settled Limerick City at the moment. We'll be back again live at 7:35.
Chill Insurance work harder so you can work smarter. We compare 14 quotes to get you the best deal.
Now, after the break, there has been a call for SUVs to be phased out in Ireland. Get rid of them. What do you make of that? 0896 111 111. And also Trump's impending visit to Clare will go behind the headlines, making today's top stories. Talk to you shortly on Ireland AM. Welcome back to Ireland AM. It's time now to take a look at this morning's papers. We'll start with the Irish Times. Its headline: treatment of domestic violence victims criticised. Women and children are being left in life-threatening situations because of a failure of the courts, Gardaí and TUSLA to collaborate on domestic violence cases, a joint Department of Justice and National Women's Council report has found.
Homeowners brace for a bumper hike in ECB rates. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. Homeowners could be hit with a bumper European rate rise this week that will increase mortgage repayments.
The Examiner leads with SUVs must be phased out of the market. Increasing sales of electric vehicles have not made a dent in transport emissions, a leading expert has said, as he called for SUVs to be phased out of Ireland.
Women of Honour, we will not tolerate a whitewash, is the top story of the Daily Mail. The Women of Honour have warned they won't take part in a statutory inquiry into sexual abuse within the Defence Forces if they believe it to be a whitewash.
The Herald goes with "I'll carve your effing throat." A Dublin man who was solicited by an acquaintance to kill his wife's friends has been jailed for 2 years for extortion.
The Star leads with a waste of space. Jailed Jonathan Dowdall will be moved from Limerick prison as he's taking up a whole landing on his own.
And we're going to be talking about prison overcrowding in just a little while in relation to that story. The Sun leads with the Ego has landed. Donald Trump jets into County Kerry today for a 24-hour visit to his Doonbeg five-star hotel and golf links.
And the Mirror goes with born in the QSA. Hundreds of Bruce Springsteen fans began queuing 5 days ahead of his Dublin gigs, but organisers had to move them on and turned them away and said, no, come back the day of the concert.
What?
Yep, 5 days. Because you see, there's an area in the front that
I know,
that's
the area where he kind of talks to you and he can see your sign and he'll play your song.
So 5 days, that's fans for you.
Listen, I remember queuing 8 hours to see Phil Babb and Jason McAteer. I get it, guys.
Why did you queue that for Phil Babb and Jason McAteer?
Because I was in love with them. Hello. Now, we'll move on. Now, business reporter with the Irish Examiner, Cait Caden, is here with more on today's top stories. Cait, thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning to you.
As we will have seen on the front of the Irish Independent, and it's something we've been talking about for a while, we're trying to decrease inflation, so interest rates are going up.
Yeah, so we are prepped for another interest rate hike tomorrow. It's unclear at this stage what that's going to be. It could be 0.25%, which is what a lot of people expect, or it could be 50 basis points, so 0.5%. If it was worst case scenario, 0.5%, tracker mortgage holders are looking at about a €390 increase a year over an 11-year period in repayments. And then if it's 0.25%, it's a little bit less, €200 extra a year. I'm verging on the side of caution at the moment. I do think it might be a 0.5% rate hike because inflation...
You do think it will be?
I do.
But I thought inflation was levelling out and all signs were that inflation was under control now and in some aspects coming down.
It is, but recent consumer price inflation across the Eurozone has maybe spooked ECB policymakers. So in Spain and France, we've noticed some small hikes, and then across the Eurozone, we saw headline inflation, which includes things like energy and food. That actually went up very slightly, but still went up. And then, but underlying inflation, which excludes those things, went down a little bit. So we don't know yet, but I mean, when the first interest rate hike came about, I thought it was going to be lower than it was. So we don't know.
This is the 7th interest rate hike since last summer, and this is being passed on to mortgage holders. Everyone who has a mortgage in this country, whether it's held by a vulture fund or it's held by your bank.
Exactly.
Lots of us save. None of the interest rates are being passed on to our savings, are they?
Not really, no.
No, is this not?
Is this
are we not
just
sitting there
terrible?
going, everyone in this country, every saver in this country is paying for these interest rate hikes for these banks because they are not passing them on to us at all.
Well, the whole point is that inflation gets driven down.
But it is an interest rate hike, and we already have the worst savings interest rate hikes in Europe, in Ireland.
Yeah, that is true.
Like
it's not ideal. It is not. It's not ideal, but unfortunately, it's policymakers have to drive down inflation some way. I do think that other
things... But it's not...
We're
in a free market economy. It's not equitable not to pass it on to people who are saving.
Yeah, definitely. I do think that, some people need to be looked after more in the economy, for sure. Yeah. Definitely. But unfortunately, I think the ECB take a broad view of things across...
A broad view.
But they are passing them on in other countries, the interest rate hikes, on to savers, but they're not doing it in Ireland. There you go. Do you want to go and talk to your bank manager about that today? If you can get them on the phone, 0896 111 111. Now, Brian Caulfield comes in here and he has chats with us about transport and trains and everything like that. He wants to ban SUVs.
Yeah, and I'd be right there with him.
Would you?
Yeah, 100%. I think, the SUVs are 20% more polluting than the average car. And a lot of people drive them that don't need them. I mean, have you gone for a swim down in Clontarf recently? Like, you cannot move down that road for...
Oh, no, let's not just pick out Clontarf now and the swimming baths in Clontarf now. There'll be war this morning all over the country. But there's people who sort of say, look, there's 5 or 6 of us in the family. We need a big SUV. We couldn't cope if we didn't have that.
Yeah, fair enough. But I can tell you there's an awful lot of people that have SUVs that aren't, you know, have big families, and people have like Jeeps and stuff like that and not a bit of land to their name. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't make any sense. So,
and there was exclusion zones brought into some schools because the blind spots in SUVs and being around school, and you know, just the fear of what was going on with children being in that blind spot. But it's increasingly been called for gas guzzlers around the world to go, okay, why have they increased so much when you're not travelling that far a distance? And we're not the first country to call for this.
Yeah.
And it looks like this could be, in relation to climate change, more and more of this happening.
Yeah, like bottom line is that we need to reduce emissions, and that, you know, Professor Caulfield said that it's not happening at a pace that we needed to reach 2030 targets, the emissions falling, that is. So, I mean, like, it's time for hard calls. And if people have to give up their SUVs, then sorry.
Well,
what do you make of it?
What do you make of that? Let us know, because we'd like to hear from you. Have you got an SUV, and would you be prepared to give it up to help the environment?
089 611 111. We'd love to, because we know that people have issues with them, and then people love them as well. So we'd love to hear from you.
Better public transport system now be called for there as well. But there we go. We've been looking at that one for a few years as well. Donald Trump is going to pay us a little visit maybe later on today.
Yes. He is indeed.
Do we care?
Well, I'm from Mayo, so I'm US president out of it. I'm actually
you're president. Biden, well, you've done it. Thanks enough.
We're not going to have Trump watch. It's not going to be like, has he gone to the toilet this morning? Has he walked downstairs? That's not happening.
So former President Donald Trump is going to land in Doonbeg later today, just as he is hit with. He is facing
these allegations,
these fresh sexual assault allegations. So not a great time for Donald Trump to be, you know, going for a spot of golf in Ireland. But, you know,
this is obviously this fresh allegation, as you were hearing on the news there, is from a writer, E. Jean Carolyn. It comes from 1996 when he says that Donald Trump attacked her in a dressing room in the lingerie section of the Burdock Goodman department store. So that's going through court currently at the moment. And then with all of this going on, the accounts of Doonbeg continually are being published as a result. It's down 14.7 million losses since 2014, I think it is.
That's right.
So I don't think they'll enjoy that being all over the paper today as due to his visit.
So they said that he'd probably arrive in about 5 or 6, play a round of golf, have dinner and go home tomorrow.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's it.
It's well for some. It's like yourself visiting a hotel, you just don't own it. Are you happy he's coming? 0896 111 111. Now, this is an interesting story. This is to do with paternity benefit. And we know that in Ireland we're quite bad, like when it came to claiming for the room, you know, the rental scheme and all that, we weren't doing it. There's a low uptake of paternity benefit because this is something now that is a statutory right in Ireland.
Yeah, that's right. And it looks like the key to why it's not being taken up is the disparity between wages in the private sector and the welfare payment itself. So you're looking at a... you know, it's less than a third of a weekly wage.
So it's €262 a week is what the paternity benefit is.
Yeah.
And you can take up to 2 weeks and you can get this money, which is over 500 quid, and people aren't doing it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's not a lot of money if you're at home with a baby. Do you know what I mean? It's but I mean, it's still a welfare payment, but...
Yeah, but like 500 quid... at the start of a child's life, like it's your money that you can get, but is there a lot of people that aren't getting this?
There was a slight drop in the number that took it last year, but at the same time, I mean, it's good that these things are being brought in. I mean, paternity rights are at at a low in Ireland, so it is a step in the right direction, but it's obviously not enough. The interest just isn't there. Some people just, see
maybe
it
they don't
better
know about it.
Why would you not just take it?
Because there was 58,000 births registered and 28,000 fathers claimed the benefit. And I suppose there are single parents and there's an issue along with all of that. But maybe some people don't know. You might know. You're due. You're entitled to your paternity benefit.
I think a lot of these benefits aren't translated enough to Irish people. It's the same with the energy support credit. People think it's too complicated. They don't know how to get it, that kind of thing if you're a business. So it's probably the same kind of thing.
OK, you're getting your paternity benefit. 0896 111 111. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Cait. We really appreciate it.
Now, still to come, we hear why overcrowding in Ireland's jails is at its worst in over 30 years.
And Tommy will be with some rugby heads in Limerick. We'll talk to you very shortly.
Well, it's looking lovely down there in Limerick, and Derek has some royalty, rugby royalty keeping him company down there this morning.
So Derek is downstairs on O'Connell Street, and then they come back to Dublin so that we can get all the way upstairs to the top of the new rugby museum. Tommy, who do you have there? You've got more rugby royalty, we believe.
Hey guys, yes, you're very welcome back to the International Rugby Experience here on O'Connell Street in Limerick. And yes, I'm up on the 5th floor and it's pretty spectacular, some of the views up here. We can see, is it King John's Castle in the background? We've got Thomond Park over there and pretty much just a nice view of the lovely place that is Limerick. Now, you can't have an experience like this and not celebrate it with its own bit of royalty, and I am joined by two legends of the game, of course. It is former Irish captain Keith Wood. Keith, great to have you with us.
Tommy.
And World Cup winning captain.
Former.
Well, former World Cup.
Called former. You were has-beens.
Well, two has-beens, basically two guys who got me into the game. And it's great to have you both here to celebrate what is a special day for Limerick, what is a special day for everybody who's involved in sport and rugby, to be a part of this experience, Keith. You were born not too far from here. Like, rugby is in your blood.
Yeah,
how special is it?
Born 150 yards from here, which is kind of mad. This is extraordinary. I think JP and Paul O'Connell got into the idea of trying to have a cathedral to rugby in the middle of O'Connell Street, and this came out of it from about 6 years ago. And the opportunity that is there for the city to try and rebuild around it, regenerate around it. Limerick's had some good days and bad days, and it needs to be uplifted, and definitely in the centre of the city. And this is now a bit of an icon building to kind of build the city around it. And no better place than Limerick, where rugby is key and central to everything.
Well, that's it. I mean, like, the rugby, obviously hurling is huge here in Limerick as well. It's just sport, though, and I think that's important for people because it opens today at 9:30, and it's not just for rugby people. I think everybody would enjoy it here.
No, it is sport, and it's also the histories of the place. It's also the stories to do with rugby. It's to do with those that have gone before, those that will come again, and it's something that's iterative. It'll grow over time, it'll change over time. It's built with a high degree of digitalization, so things can be changed when it needs to change. If we need to have new stars that come along, they're going to change as well. The colours can change.
So how definition are people going to be able to see you now? Because that could be...
Look, I'm ugly in every definition, so we're fine with all that too. So if you're looking for a scare, we can do that.
Listen, I didn't want to say that. You did speak about history, though. And Francois, you have been a part of many parts of history, but you think back to 1995, winning that Rugby World Cup in South Africa, a country that was going through a very difficult time at the moment. And there's that image of yourself and Nelson Mandela lifting the trophy and him with the Springbok jersey. How much of a piece of history has that, like, how special was it for you to be a part of that?
Tommy, it's very difficult actually to describe the gravitas in mere words, because the moment was so immense, but I didn't realize it then. I knew it was big. During the World Cup, and I've said it many times, we knew that there's something happening in South Africa. And given our past coming out of apartheid and the deep rifts in society and the mistrust in people, what started changing over the course of 6 weeks culminated in that final day. But it was the weeks after, the months after, the years after that one realized how big it was. So I'm quite fortunate that we didn't understand what was happening in the country fully, because maybe the pressure would have been so intense that it might have affected us. As it turned out, one of the most amazing moments in my life was to stand on the platform with one of the greatest leaders the world has ever seen. And the smile on his face, the words that we spoke, they're actually trying to sort that out. And there's one of the Ivy Leagues is doing a thesis on this, because we said exactly the same words to one another. Wow. Because Mr. Mandela said to me, "Thank you, Francois, for what you've done for the country." And I said to him, "Thank you, Mr. Mandela, for what you've done for the country." So exactly the same. I wished I hugged him. I said this many times, but it was protocol. And it changed my life. It definitely changed our lives. And South Africa became a nation that there was hope.
Yeah. And you became close. I mean, he was godson to your two children as well. You went to your wedding.
That's why it's so special, because it was after the World Cup. Okay. Before the World Cup, we've met a couple of times. He invited me to tea after he became president. But it was after the World Cup where the communication lines kept going. And as you said, when we were at the Union Buildings to celebrate, we were about 2,000 people there, Keith, and having some wine. And I didn't sit at the top table. I sat with my wife, and I explained that to him. So he then walked over as he was leaving, and he came over to Noreen, and he took her hand. He said to her, Noreen, will you feel offended if I come to your wedding? So it's like, I mean, she just melted in his hand.
So he invited himself. Well, that's the way to do it, isn't it? I tell you, that's when you know you've got power. How did you feel then? Because you, of course, played, Matt Damon played you in the film Invictus as well. I gather you wanted Brad Pitt. You felt he was a little bit more kin, but that...
I thought I was sitting with Matt Damon this morning. I'm really disappointed, you know.
I'd be interested. Well, you had always Uncle Fester.
Uncle Fester would play me,
the Addams Family, for people who don't know that, of course. But that was, like, to have a movie made about it is again, a moment of history, and it kind of brings it through the ages.
But it's weird. It's weird for me, you know, because when you live through all of this and then you see that they're trying to explain to the American people rugby, which I don't think rugby scenes didn't come out that well. But in the end, what happened in South Africa, because of Mr. Mandela, was just tremendous. A leader that was in jail for 27 years came out with forgiveness and with hope and to build. And to wear the Springbok, where the ANC wanted to take the Springbok away, and he realized that the Springbok emblem and rugby for our nation is so important. And fast forward, now we have Siya Kolisi, who lifted the trophy. And you've got some incredible players that have never had the opportunity to play rugby coming through.
Well, Siya Kolisi has got a pretty tricky injury at the minute as well, which could be good for Irish eyes, because, of course, Ireland and South Africa will be in the same group going into the World Cup in September. I mean, for that World Cup, what way do you see it with Irish rugby on really such a crest of a wave at the minute?
Yeah, I think we've consistently managed to get it wrong for World Cups, and we've peaked in the middle. And I don't know that that's happened this time. And I think we look strong, confident, but everybody forgets when you're, you know, #1 in the world. The other teams now have a target, and there's a target on Ireland's back. We have an appalling draw. And everything is, so we have to beat everybody that is great in the game to try and get this World Cup. And we've never got past a quarter-final in the past. So there's a couple of emotional hurdles we need to get over as well. I think there's a great chance. I think we need most of our players to stay in the field.
Including Johnny Sexton, who was here yesterday talking about how he is going to be fit, reassuring everybody.
Yeah, we picked on Johnny constantly yesterday, but it was brilliant actually. It was great to see him. He was in great form, and he's well on the way to recovery. But and he is central, and he is really important. He thinks the game at a ferociously fast level. His legs aren't as fast as they used to be, but his brain is, and he's thinking his way through it. So. I mean, it would be an unbelievable send-off for somebody like him. And I think they're all possible, but hugely difficult, huge task.
And listen, we mentioned Johnny Sexton was here yesterday, Martin Johnson was here, Brian Habana, Brian like, you know, legends of the game. And I think that epitomises what a special moment it is to have this experience here in Limerick. It really is a special building. I've really enjoyed getting around it. And if you are in Limerick today, make sure you get down to have a look at it. Keith Wood, Francois Pienaar, great to have you with us. Guys, back to you in studio.
Thank you very much,
so
Tommy.
happy catching up with his mates.
Just all the lads around for a cup of tea.
It's so lovely. It is actually lovely. And I know I'd say there'd be a pile of people that'll get married there.
Oh.
Real rugby fans up at the top so you can see Thomond Park.
In fairness, was there much excitement in Limerick about it going up?
Oh, we've been waiting for years. Yeah, we're dying for it to happen. Yeah, very much so. Anyway, we'll be down to Tommy again in just a little while. But coming up next, concerns about overcrowding as the prison system is now over capacity. We'll talk to you shortly on Ireland AM.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, recent figures have shown that Ireland's prisons have reached capacity, leading to severe overcrowding.
Molly Joyce, Acting Executive Director of the Irish Penal Reform Trust, joins us to discuss. Good morning. It's lovely to have you with us, Molly. So we're at 104% capacity.
Yes.
We've got 4,583 prisoners, and we've got like almost 200 sleeping on beds. This is clearly unacceptable. The front story on the paper today, Jonathan Dowdall taking up an entire landing in Limerick prison where there could be 12 people.
Yeah.
What are you going to do to address this?
Well, so I think as you've painted the picture, it's a really, really bad picture at the moment. We are seeing significant overcapacity. And what that, I guess, just in real terms, what that actually means for people is that you have a situation where you have people sleeping on mattresses, but also you have increased tensions within the prison, which of course in turn can lead to increased violence. And it also means that all of the services, those rehabilitative services that are so key to try and stop reoffending, it's much more difficult to actually deliver those. So for example, mental health, addiction services, education, all much more difficult when you have way too many people in the system.
And is there reasons at the moment why this is happening?
Well, that's a very good question. And I think there probably needs to be a bit of analysis to try and understand it. It could be a kind of post-COVID kind of increase, which is not entirely unexpected as the courts go back to normal. But we in IPRT have seen throughout 2022 a kind of steady increase, and then in 2023 a real acceleration in the numbers. The other thing that we would very much point to is that we are continuing to see a large number of people kind of flowing through our prison system on short sentences for less serious offences. So, for example, in 2021, 79% of sentenced committals to prison were for 12 months or less. So, in other words, for less serious types of offending. We're also seeing increased numbers of people on remand. And by remand, I mean people who are awaiting trial who have not necessarily been convicted of an offence. Okay. So that's another part of the picture potentially contributing to the high numbers.
See, there's so much that goes on here. We're talking about overcrowding in prisons and building bigger prisons. Should we not be concentrating on recidivism, trying to go, OK, we've got 45% reoffending rate within 2 years in Ireland? That has to be tackled. And surely that comes from work that's done within prisons as well, because it's all like everything else, build more houses, build more. Like, we need to kind of get people not to commit crimes, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's our kind of key message, is let's try and focus on the reasons why people offend, which are often related to mental health and addiction. You know, we have figures suggesting, they're out of date, but we have figures suggesting that 70% of our prison population have an addiction issue. We see very high rates of mental illness among people in prison, and we should be addressing our resources on trying to address that. And specifically on the recidivism point, you know, just a few days ago, the chaplain reports were released, and they talked a lot about the issues of people leaving prison with no real supports in the community, which just leads them back into the same cycle, back into prison again. Yeah. And really, there has been great policy commitments, I would say, from this government around trying to promote alternatives to prison. But it's a bit disheartening for us to then see some of the kind of diversion to talking about building more prisons, when actually let's just try and implement those policy commitments, put the resources there and focus on that rather than just looking at building more prisons.
Because Simon Harris has said, like, they are going to build 4 new prisons, but, like, realistically, we're talking 5-6 years down the line there. We're looking at that. Like, that's not going to affect anything now over the next few years.
Yeah, I think absolutely. That's a long-term project. Capital infrastructure, it takes a long time to build. And we think there's more effective and cheaper ways of dealing with some of this, because it is important to say prison is really expensive. The average cost in 2021 was in and around €80,000 a year per person.
Per prisoner.
Per prisoner. And by contrast, probation supervision is in and around €5,000 to €6,000 per person per year. So that's kind of someone working in the community on a community sanction, for example, instead of being sent to prison.
Well, it really is all connected, because every single time you see, it's all over the front of the papers, joyriding in certain communities, and then the guards can't go in there because they don't have any resources. And you get people shouting on Facebook and on Twitter going, lock them up, lock them up. But then it's like, oh, they're not worth this. And I actually received a letter from a prisoner in Mountjoy prison. And I won't say his name, but it's someone, he's turned his life around and he realised he's done wrong. But he says, due to the complete lack of resources, the oppressive regime and a system lacking compassion, the majority of people that come into the prison environment do not get to heal the way I have. They are further traumatised and have their addictions deepen. This means they often go on to hurt more people. That's the sad truth. I heal despite prison, not because of it. Because this isn't just numbers. There are people who are deeply traumatised inside in prisons, and we have to remember that they are people and treat them as such. Is that an issue? Because we can't recruit the right people to be working in prisons.
Well, I think it's really good to hear you kind of read that out, because that is a lot of the kind of letters we would receive from people. And for us, we are dealing and we talk to people in prison. And as you say, every single person has their own story. And when you start to understand someone's background and childhood, you might understand why they ended up there. But also the impact of that imprisonment, as you say, on that person, but also on their wider community, on their family members, on their potential children. It goes much beyond just that person in prison. And I think absolutely, in terms of kind of trying to focus on, you know, the Irish Prison Service does do a very good job of trying to deliver rehabilitative services, but in very difficult circumstances where they often don't have the resources. And again, if we talk about overcrowding and the recruitment issue, if staff have to, you know, you have to end up focusing on the basics, feeding people. So you don't have time to do that rehabilitation
Is there a recruitment issue? Are they lacking in people who want to join the prison service?
Well, there was a commitment in the last budget to 100 more prison officers. That was great, but again, I don't think it's going to meet the demand. I think that there is kind of, you know, like everything at the moment, there's a lot of recruitment going on across the entire
But people
civil
want
service.
to join. They don't want to join?
Well, I don't know if that's exactly the issue. I suppose it's kind of just trying to keep capacity with the numbers who will end up retiring in due course and trying to keep the numbers up. And I think there has been a kind of staffing issue, you know, not just at the moment, it's kind of been building for a number of years. So then to try and backfill that is going to take some time. But, you know, there's some really committed officers who are really committed to kind of the rehabilitative aspects, you know, and people are attracted to that.
It is the recidivism rates that we have to believe that people can be reformed in prison and to work on that. Molly Joyce, Acting Executive Director of the Irish Penal Reform Trust, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to that person who sent me that from Mentor Prison. I really do appreciate it. 0896 111 111 to get in contact.
Now, lots more still to come in Ireland AM. We'll see you in a few minutes. Lots of texts coming in this morning because, Miriam, we were talking about this, the banning of SUVs earlier on this morning.
Yes, we certainly were. That's front of the Examiner. And they've said, it's Professor Brian Caulfield has said that we have to get rid of them because they're not giving us any benefit. Like they're still causing so many emissions. And T said, that's a very broad statement. I have a hybrid SUV and only put petrol in it once in 3 months. I am in electric mode all of the time. I think another point that was made is that you need more electricity for a bigger car as well. And if you're like two people in a bigger car, you could have a smart car and get around with that, and it would lead to less electricity and therefore less electricity creation and emissions.
David says they want us to cut emissions, but the government are not helping people to buy electric. They're constantly cutting the grants for purchasing electric vehicles. From July, the grant is being reduced from 5,000 to 3,500. Why are they doing that? If they want us to buy the cars, keep the grants going. So that's a reduction of €1,500, making purchasing electric car vehicle dearer than ever.
Porrick says, I own an SUV. I live in rural Ireland and have 2 adult disabled sons. For therapies, I travel 500 kilometres per week, and that is not counting other necessary trips. A fully electric car is not practical at the moment, but would be if I lived in an urban area and services were focused in the urban centre. Until then, our electric had range without having to stop to top up. That is impractical to do with disabled sons. I will continue to use my SUV. I would not consider an SUV if I lived in the city. OK, I would not consider an SUV if I lived in the city. I think those who purchase a Land Rover or Range Rover for school runs in an urban area for status should be looked at before a blanket ban. Without a shadow of a doubt with these things, there always has to be practicalities. Like, you cannot take some large vehicles away from farmers. Simple as that.
No.
And Porrick would not be able to do what he does.
But when you're in the middle of a city and these big Land Rovers and Range Rovers pull up at a school and they live maybe a kilometre down the road.
Yeah, but you know what?
But I mean, people are allowed to buy their cars that they want. Is it a status thing, do you think?
I just wonder if it is going to be treated within, we'll say, the confines of a big city or a town if you are not working in a rural setting at all. If eventually it will be like, you know, smoking. Like, how dare you have that, the stadia?
Yeah.
You know, these things that people are becoming more and more unacceptable. We'd love to hear from you, 0896 111 111, because obviously for some people, there's a reason that these cars exist.
And do you think you're judged? If you do pull up at a school, are you being judged for it? Or other parents saying something?
Well, people like to be higher up. People have bad backs, so they need to be higher up in a car.
Yeah.
You do feel safer. An awful lot of people feel safer.
Yeah, but we were
I've
talking about
cars.
it that
I love them.
People might have big families. There might be just two adults and maybe one child, and they have a massive big.
They do, but you feel safer. Like, a lot of people feel safer in these cars. It's just the way that it is. 0896 111 111. I love the height in those cars.
We were also talking about paternity benefits earlier on. Lower paternity benefits in Ireland means fathers are less likely to take time off after the birth of a child. It was €260 that you could claim.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, for the paternity benefit.
And very few, well, almost half didn't take it up.
Yes, but this is what I was wondering earlier on if it affects your tax credit. Damien, it's not worth taking the paternity benefit payment. You lose out in your wages when you take it. It works out better taking annual leave instead. But you can take the paternity benefit and not take... You could not claim it, couldn't you? Like, you go to work saying, I'm taking my 2 weeks paternity.
So do you get paid on both? No.
No, not for... Well, your annual leave is your annual leave.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? What?
No, I just want to... So, like, well, why would you...
Alan's going to announce that he's having a baby so he can get 2 weeks paternity leave.
No, it's going, well, why would you take that cut off your wages? And, like, so people mightn't be able to pay bills if you're taking that €260 and you're taking time off work.
Yeah.
It's like, doesn't make sense.
I know. But then some companies would subsidise that as well with something else that they might give paternity.
Other companies don't.
Yep. Ronan says, I took paternity leave on our first child, but it cost me over €200 compared to a week's wages. Hardly a surprise people aren't taking it when it's costing you money. I have a week of parents' leave upcoming, and again, I'll be down versus a week's wages. So these are the things that you have to... But paternity... It's very important for people. Like, we have someone here, Lorcan, who comes into us, and he took, 6 months paternity leave? Yeah. And it was great, but you have to weigh that up. 0896 111 111.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you.
Sarah's saying the husband was on 800 a week, went down to 200, wasn't any point in doing such a big adjustment, and they were struggling to pay the mortgage.
Yeah, and an awful lot of people... I assume that employers aren't topping up paternity like some employers would for maternity.
Yeah.
You know?
We'd
love to hear from you on that one as well. 0896 111 111.
Now, up next, the good glow's Georgie Crawford on penning her very first book. We'll see in a few minutes. Thanks for staying with us. Now, best known for the Good Glow podcast. Our next guest has only gone off and she's written a book.
She's written herself a book. Here to tell us more, as well as coach, podcaster, and now author Georgie Crawford.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, Georgie. How are you?
I'm good.
Is that nice? Like, is it to go, I've written a book?
Yeah, you're the first person to call me an author. So I'll remember that forever.
That's it. You're an author now.
Yeah.
Like, it's beautiful and it's gorgeous. You know it has to be eye-catching. It's gorgeous. It's very good glowy. But there's a lot in here. It's life advice, but an awful lot about what you've gone through. How was the process of writing this? Because you did lay yourself very bare.
Yes, I did. And when I was thinking about what is the book, I didn't want it to be all about me and my story. So I wrote, I suppose it's a 5-step guide in how people can evolve, whether that's in their professional or personal life, anchored by my story and my experiences. But it's really about the reader and how they can step forward in life and, grow.
And so take us back then, because this is a follow-on to the podcast, obviously. So this has gone back then to 2017 when you got your cancer diagnosis. Can you tell us then what then led you to the podcast?
Yeah, so I remember sitting in my recovery from cancer in my garden, going through chemotherapy, and all of a sudden my life was infused with time. And time was something that I'd never had in my life before. So I worked in radio, I was busy all the time. I always worked the breakfast shift so I could fit more stuff into my day. So when I got my cancer diagnosis and the doctor said, you're off for a year, I was just left with silence. And obviously I had so much support around me, but there was moments where I was alone. And in those moments, I remember thinking, if I survive this, things are going to be different for me. Because I'd always put myself so far down my to-do list. I always told myself, I'll survive, I'll be grand. But when I had that time, I got the opportunity to stop and say, I've counted myself out of things for so many years. I told myself I wasn't the type of person to do this and that. And actually, I want to go and find out what I'm made of. So since then, I swim in the sea, I've done the New York half marathon, all of these things that I told myself I wasn't the type of person to do. So in this book is little tiny tips for people to evolve, because we're just going around in circles every day. Yeah. So it's really practical.
Because you've got a perspective that a lot of people don't have. And it is getting a cancer diagnosis when you're ridiculously young and you have a baby, like you had Pia. Pia was very small at the time when all of this happened to you. So imparting that to people. Because that's, you know, certain things happen in your life when someone dies close to you or something like that, and you're kind of like, I'm going to enjoy this. It's hard to hold on to that feeling, isn't it?
Yes.
Of making that positive change.
Yeah, it is. And I think when a lot of people are going through illness, and I was speaking to my friend Jerry about this, Jerry Hussey, recently, and he said, you know, we're always trying to go back to normal. But I had to accept that, actually, I didn't want to go back to normal. And that was uncomfortable for a while as I was in this kind of process of change and asking myself, well, who am I today? I don't have to be who I was for all of those years. I don't have to be the person I was in my 20s. I'm actually going to find out, who do I want to be? And I started to really like myself and spend time with myself and go hiking and do all of these things. And in those moments, you know, when I'm standing at the finish line in New York after doing the half marathon, I'm like, why did I count myself out of this life for so many years?
But you're saying, did you not like yourself beforehand? And it was just something that struck me there when you were saying, if I come out of this diagnosis. Was there an if, or is like most people say, when I come out of this diagnosis?
I think in those moments in chemotherapy, there was definitely a fear that I could still die from cancer. Like, I definitely didn't think, oh, I've survived. And your question there, no, I didn't really like myself before. And I was distracting myself with busyness because I couldn't actually bear to sit alone with myself. I had 2 jobs all my life. You'd look at me and think I had a great life.
Yeah.
But actually, I was running from myself all the time. And I think a lot of us do that. You know, we're always listening to something, we're always busy, because actually sitting down with ourselves can feel uncomfortable. But actually, when you sit down with yourself, and it's a chapter in my book, connect with yourself. When you do that, you start to evolve, you start to grow. But it's that kind of tricky bit of actually sitting down and doing it.
And would it be... Because I sometimes think that, like, we've all busy lives and stuff like that, but I tend to sometimes just appreciate something like, if I'm on holidays, I will sit down and I will look at a beach or a sea and I will take it all in and I'll go, am I lucky to be here today just looking at this? Is that the type of thing you're sort of saying, like, just take those little moments for yourself and take it in and start growing from that?
Yeah, so I speak about 5-star moments and it's in the book. So I put it out last summer because I went for a swim with Courtney Smith, and she's a great friend of mine, and we dunked our heads in the water and we had this amazing conversation on my podcast, and we were like, that was a 5-star moment. So I asked my listeners to send me their 5-star moments, and for 2 weeks I was scrolling through pictures of the sea, a cup of tea in the morning, the kids' smile, nature. Everything that I was getting were moments in life that are free and are right in front of us. So I always say to people, think about your 5-star moments, because we think, you know, I need to get the promotion to be happy. I need to go on this holiday to be happy. And I was in that cycle of, I'll be happy when. But actually, can you stop to figure out, actually, what does make me happy? And do I already have it?
And it's so nice to be sitting here with you. Like, the big smile on your face, there is a glow. There's always such a glow of positivity off you that makes me go, I'm going to change. I'm going to learn how to do gratitude and not be so cynical. That never happens. But it's so, like, it's really lovely and positive and lovely to do this, because you've got people who are very invested in what you want to teach them, the perspective you have on life, but everything that you've been through. And we saw a picture of Jamie, your husband, there, and gorgeous Pia. And then there was some amazing news that you're expecting a baby, the surrogacy. You're delighted everything's going well?
Yes, everything's great. We're expecting our 2nd baby through surrogacy. It's been a long road. We started this process in September 2020.
Yeah.
I thought I'd have a baby in my arms within a year. How wrong was I? But we can't believe it. A 5-star moment, and we're very excited. Everything's going really well with our surrogate mother. She's happy. She's so well looked after. And I just can't believe I'm going to have this experience with another woman. You know?
I know, it's so mad. And
yeah.
she gets it.
Pia gets it. Pia has it all sussed. She's in senior infants, and it was so funny. We went to New York to do the half marathon, and we brought 130 people with us from our community. And 2 of the parents, our friends from the school, came. And on the Friday, I got up and I said, "Oh, and by the way, guys, you know, we're pregnant." And Laura and Richie came up to me afterwards, and they said, we knew. And I said, "How did you know?" And they said, "Well, Pia told our little girl," and they had the magazine, VIP magazine, with Arthur and Brian Dowling on the front.
About little Blake.
And Laura was explaining, now this is, and you know, explaining surrogacy, and the little gorgeous little girl said, "Mum, I know, Pia's told me all about this." So these are the conversations they're having in school.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is so great. And huge congratulations.
Yeah, and your Glow is the book that's out now. And you're also bringing all your advice to a summit, the Glow Summit, on May 13th.
May 13th,
Where's that going to be on?
So that's with the pre-orders of the book, you get access to our first ever online summit. So we're looking forward to that.
Glow author.
Look at
Georgie
you are glowing.
Georgie Crawford. It's lovely to have you here. Thank you so much. Huge congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll be back with you in Ireland AM very shortly. Now, we've all taken bets inside the studio to see how quickly Tommy will lose the rag, because it's time to get competitive. Isn't that right, Tommy?
Hey guys, great to hear from you again. I am, of course, here in Limerick at the International Rugby Experience that celebrates everything that is good about the game of rugby, the men's and the women's game. Now, it is safe to say that the women's game is going through a bit of a difficult patch at the minute. I'm delighted to be joined by former Irish captain Ciara Griffin to talk me a little bit through that and to talk about what a wonderful building we are in here, of course. Ciara, good morning to you.
Morning, Tommy.
Ciara, we have to mention it's the end of the Women's Six Nations. Ireland finished at the bottom, wooden spoon. It's been a tough time for the girls. It's been a tough time for everybody involved in Irish rugby looking on from it. Yeah. What have you made of the last few weeks?
Yeah, look, it has been a difficult campaign for the team. Obviously, it's not the target they would have set out for at the start of the competition. But I said, look, they're a young squad. They're gaining a lot of experience through this campaign, and hopefully now we'll see, you know, the stepping stones put in place that we don't see this again repeating itself. And
it's a decade since the women won that Grand Slam. 8 years, I think, since they beat England or France it was as well. Sometimes you kind of got to hit bottom, rock bottom almost, for things to change, because there has been a lot of talk that there needs to be a change in structures, a change in the work that is put on behind the scenes to really try and grow the women's game. Yeah, exactly. The only way is up, and the only way you're going to develop it is by putting in the structures, put in the feeder systems that you see similar, with the Red Roses over in the UK. They put in a clear system in their Premiership rugby, and there's clear stepping stones from the Premiership into the white shirt. And we need, now, I'm not saying we need an exact replica here. We're a different country, a different playing pool. And I think it's important that, we listen to the clubs, they know what's needed, and then we get those clear structures in place. I get everyone playing rugby, getting from grassroots to green shirts, and just getting that exposure and enjoying the game. And we're seeing, like you're talking about, we don't have the player numbers that they have in England, but it's the same in the men's game. Exactly. And we can see, for a small country, we can compete with the best if we have the right structures and things in place as well. Listen, you are a part of this museum. Your journey into rugby has been a huge part of this as well, and it's amazing to see. How cool was it to be a part of that? Oh, it was amazing. Like, yesterday was a real kind of pinch yourself moment, to be honest, like walking through and just seeing your jerseys there. I had my Irish in my club, my first club, Castle Island RC, and just seeing my story up there was just nuts, to be honest. It's really, really nice to see, and I suppose it just shows that you can go from grassroots all the way up once you aim for something, aim high and go for it. And of course, you studied here in Limerick as well, so it must be amazing to see the city that you know so well have such an iconic building in it. It is. I was only up the road in Mary doing my teaching degree, and I know how many times I ran up and down here doing my nighttime runs, and it's just so cool to see this place here now, and just highlighting the positives of the game and what the game can achieve together. And having yourself, Babine Parsons was here as well, alongside the likes of the Keith Woods, the Brian O'Driscoll, Johnny Sextons as well. Like, it's a special moment, and it's something like that sport and rugby can really bring these communities and everybody together. That's it. It's community sport. It's a club sport. Everyone's there together, and everyone has a position.
competition, everyone has a job to do, and it's nice to see everyone coming together and creating this fabulous experience here in Limerick.
So you retired in 2021, you made a decision it was time to step away and focus on the next chapter. Any regrets?
No, to be honest, I'm just as busy, to be honest. I'm gone into running. So
into running?
Yeah, I ran my first marathon last week.
You did not, did you?
I did. So that's been filling the time since I stopped playing. So enjoying that. Yeah,
you really are a glutton for punishment then.
I am. Yeah. No, we did the Connemara marathon last weekend, so it was a nice little challenge for my first one.
Wow!
But,
congratulations to you. Well, speaking of challenges, we have our own challenge here in the museum. We're going to move into the interactive part of the museum, and Derek, of course, is licking his lips, waiting to try and take us on at a few challenges. So if we walk into this interactive area, like it's state of the art. It really is so impressive, isn't it?
It's brilliant. Your competitive edge will come out when you see the different skills, because you want to hit the target all the time.
And there's so many young boys and girls here as well. They've all been practicing the kicking challenges, the passing challenges. Oh my goodness, look at this.
Oh, look at this, you're ready to go.
He's got the green jersey on.
You're bang on time, guys. First of all, welcome to my home turf for Limerick.
Absolutely.
Okay, guys, we've got a really cool challenge for you. In fact, we've got two challenges. The first up is a clearance kick, right? So it's all about power, it's all about accuracy, it's all about... I can't believe I'm telling you how to kick a ball.
Okay, right.
Anyway, I'm first up, okay? So 3, 2, 1, here we go. Oh!
Okay.
All right.
Right. Ciara, you're up.
Oh, no.
We're going to steady up.
I can just drop it. I can just drop it. It's all right.
Off you go. Oh! Well, that was a 10.
Not great, guys. Not great.
That was a 10.
Okay,
right.
Pressure here, Tommy.
Watch the cameraman there as well. Here we go. Right.
All right. Hold on. Oh, yeah, Tommy, I think you hit it wide as well.
I did not. That was bad.
I'm sorry, Ciara.
Okay.
You know you're in the presence of greatness here.
I do.
In the presence of a washed-up winger.
Look at the crowd all loving this one. So we've got like pushing challenges with the likes of Tyke Furlong there. We've got Keith Earls with a sprint and reaction kicking challenge as well. Now we're going to move on to the passing challenge with South African scrum half Faf de Klerk. I mean, it's amazing. You have Johnny Wilkinson coaching the kicking, Faf de Klerk coaching the passing. I'm going to go first with this one, right?
These guys are like your childhood heroes, right?
Well, I played with some of them as well, Derek.
Sorry, Tommy.
Absolutely. Right. Oh, the trials.
Oh, yeah, you have to wait to the top.
2, 1. Okay,
all right,
here we
Tommy.
go. Right, no pressure.
No pressure here.
No pressure now.
What do I have to do?
All right,
here we go.
3, 2, 1. Oh, okay, he's got a 10.
It's a 10. Okay, Ciara, you're up.
Okay. 10 to be there. Oh, okay.
Oh, Derek. Right, zoom in on this one.
For Limerick lad here now. 3, 2, 1.
Hey,
62! Yes!
Hey, that's it. Hold on, I want to see this pass again.
10, 37, 62.
Come on, let's have a look at this.
It, Tommy. The game is over.
The game is over. Okay, very good, very good. Well, sure, listen, there's not a bit of crack. Like, it's a bit of fun here, though, Derek. Because, like, for somebody who, myself and Ciara, obviously mad into rugby, and you're a huge supporter of rugby too, but didn't play much of it.
No, I never played rugby, but like we got Thomond Park just out the road, and what an incredible asset for Limerick City. It's absolutely fantastic. Delighted, and the experience I think opening today, right?
Yeah, opens today at 9:30. But it's not even just for rugby people or sports people. Anybody can enjoy that. Like, it's a bit of, like, even the kids, like the kicking and passing challenges. They're a bit of crack, aren't they?
They're a bit of crack. But I think, you know what, Tommy, you've got a bit of a chip in your shoulder because Tommy doesn't feature in the experience at all.
I believe I do, actually, Derek.
Oh, you're in the
You just have to keep scrolling all the way to the bottom, I think it
anyway,
is.
I won this challenge, hands down. 67, up Limerick, Limerick-a-boom.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Back to studio.
Yeah, guys, what do you reckon? Al, to be fair, I think you'd be a better passer than this fella.
Well, Tommy, our washed-up winger. I love it.
I know. Some abuse. I mean, if I'm not getting abused by you and Warren in studio, it's Blue and Derek is abusing me here. Washed up winger.
When Derek got the green and it went 62, see in the corner, Tommy's jaw, he locked out there like it was a lock. He was not happy. I wonder if he's going to make us watch him do it again later in the next hour when he gets 100.
Yeah, I didn't do it properly.
I didn't do it properly. We will be back in just a little while. Tommy, keep on practicing, babes.
I will. I need it. Thanks, guys.
There you go. Okay, now from drop-kicking rugby balls to deep-frying risotto balls in the kitchen. There he is. Alberto is going to be making up some arancini in a couple of minutes' time. Stay with us.
That just happened. Drop-kicking. Can you read eat this because you've eaten everything.
Sorry. Welcome back. Now, creamy, crunchy, cheesy rice balls are on the menu today, and I've just eaten a full one.
Eaten with his mouth.
I've literally eaten a full one.
Alberto Rossi from the Intercontinental Hotel is serving up arancini. Can we explain what that is again?
So arancini, everybody probably seen arancini. Arancini are risotto balls that you can stuff with almost anything you want. Now, the original and classic ones that you get in Sicily have inside ragu, there's bolognese with peas, and they are shaped like a volcano, like the Mount Etna, so they are pyramid-shaped, you know? Yeah, that's how they do down in Sicily, you know? But, you know, has been taken all over Italy, and now you make them round. I put inside the mozzarella cheese, and they're called arancini because the word arance is the orange, because once you fry them, they get golden like
They get golden.
Yeah.
There you go.
He's already gone. He had to bring in loads. So how do we kick these off? And is this doable for people at home?
It is doable, you know. I always suggest stuff like this, you know, maybe share it in 2 days. You do the risotto on one day, and then the morning after you start the job, because otherwise you're at it for 3 hours. Not everybody enjoys it like I do.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It is your job.
Hours.
No, 3 hours. 14 hours, bye-bye.
Three. So how do we kick this off?
So we make a risotto. We make a saffron risotto. So saffron gives the yellow color, okay?
Yeah.
And usually when you finish the risotto, you put the same amount of butter to Parmesan cheese to kind of make it nice and creamy. In this case, you put way more cheese. You put like 100 grams of cheese, so it becomes...
Now, risotto's not easy to make.
It is, you know. In this case, you're serving it the day after, so it doesn't have to be perfect, you know.
Yeah.
Once you have enough cheese and amide, you know, that it's in the risotto, you see, then you can shape it like this.
So that's what you're doing now?
Yes, you know.
So that's it the next day?
Exactly. You put it in the fridge, go to bed, thank you very much, and the morning after you come, and what you do is you make a bowl. You can make them as big as you want. Now, if you make them too big, the inside won't be too hot, you know, so just
remember
make sure,
that.
because we are frying them. So then, with your thumb, you create a little bit of a void space in the middle.
Yeah.
You know? And then you put inside your mozzarella like this, put it in, and then you close it back again. You know?
This seems like the fun part.
It is, and you can do it with your kids and everything.
Yes.
I always say involve them because it works less and it keeps them entertained.
Healthy,
and then you bread them.
food.
So first in the flour, okay? Then you put them in the egg yolk, well, the egg wash, and then I have here breadcrumbs, okay?
Is that just ordinary breadcrumbs?
Yeah, well, I got the one in the shop. They are called the panko.
The panko.
So they're a little bit crunchier.
Breadcrumbs, yeah.
Because if you use the one that you would use for the turkey stuffing, they will be too soft.
Okay,
you know?
the panko are very handy for all that
Panko
kind
is
of
much
stuff.
better, okay? And then you just put them in the deep fryer. Now, if you don't have a deep fryer and you have an air fryer, we probably work too.
Yeah.
You know, I never tried. Now we have an air fryer at home.
Listen, my mum does her fries in the air fryer these days.
So bacon, egg and sausage, the whole thing?
Not the egg, but everything else goes into the air fryer. Everything goes into the air fryer these days.
Absolutely.
Mary, what do you like?
It's all delicious.
So then you fry it for about a couple of minutes. Now, what I usually do is I fry them until they're golden, and then I put them in the oven for about 6 or 7 minutes, about 150, 160 degrees, so you make sure that the inside is hot and melted. Yeah, because in my case, I did them some in advance, and I put the cheese in it. So I want to make sure that the cheese is melting away, so it's nice and pretty. As you can see, I have hundreds.
You knew the assignment today.
Yes.
You knew everyone was going to
I knew everybody will love them. And then you can serve them, you know, nibbles and wine when the garden, sitting outside and the weather is nice. It's the sort of thing,
like if you're doing something this summer, it will be kind of special to do.
Absolutely. And you know, everybody will love it.
And even at that, like we've got your risotto recipe up on the Ireland AM website now. So that's your recipe for risotto.
Done, and then all you have to do, that's it. And then you serve them.
Can you just tell us quickly how to do a risotto, though?
So to do a risotto, you're going to need...
risotto rice.
It's risotto rice. You need stock, you need white wine and shallots. You know, you start with your shallots, you put the rice, couple of minutes, make it warm, the glaze with a glass of wine. The glaze means that you wash it with the wine and you wait until it disappears, it's gone, you know? And then you start to put in your stock, little by little, until it's all absorbed. You know, and then you cool it down. So it's, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's straightforward. It's something you have to do a few times.
Now, Mirren.
But if you want to learn...
Exactly. You have to learn how to make mistakes first. That's what it is, you know?
Like, if you don't have a deep fat fryer, but could you, the way that's come out of the oven, if you roll them and put them in...
No, they won't, because they won't crisp up, you know? They won't
in the oven if you have the oven high, no?
I don't know. I never tried to probably they will. But I would say, you know, when you put them in the deep fryer, it tastes much better, and why would you change it?
It's a deep fryer.
I know it's a deep fryer. Can I have half one of this?
Now, usually I do them at home for my children, because my daughter loves them.
and I use a normal pan with oil inside, and then you...
Oh, just
you
an
turn them
ordinary pan
around.
and
Yes.
just keep turning
I
them.
always say, just be careful with oil in a pan, because it's open, and if you put too much and you put too many things inside, it'll explode out. So I'm a professional chef, so I know what I'm doing, but I don't want to...
But with the oil in the pan, because
That's
people do that...
now.
If they,
Very good.
But people, you know, pre-deep fat fryers, everyone was doing their chips and with
Absolutely,
the oil in the pan.
and then leave the pan in the garage and says, "Don't step in the garage."
Don't step in the...
Because that was my granny in Monkstown. If we were going out, like, don't step in the garage, and we'll be the Fritex all solid in the
That
fryer.
was your granny in Monkstown?
Well, my granny's Irish, my mum is Irish, and my father is Italian.
How did I know? I didn't know that. What?
Well, I keep some secrets, you know.
Your granny's I love that you had that experience. Your granny shouting at you, stay away from the garage.
There was no shouting, they're just looking.
I was about to say, they don't shout in Monkstown, do they?
You're off to Italy tomorrow. Do you know what we should do? We should actually... Can I go with you to Italy? We bring a camera crew and we do some Italian cooking all around Italy.
Yeah, I'm up for it. You know, say, you know, we discover, and now that the weather is starting to be nice...
it'd be just lovely.
Absolutely.
We'll
we
go
show
to
the
little
tan
villages and
yes.
we'll go do that.
Alberto, he's invited himself on your romantic
on my holiday
week
tomorrow.
Away.
No, not this,
fabulous
not
wife.
this week, but another week.
That's
we
what
should
he's
go
just
to
after
Italy
doing.
and cook with Alberto.
You know?
I love the way you come up with great ideas for this show that involves him getting a holiday.
Alberto, thank you so much.
No
You're
problem.
actually delicious. I'm on my second one now. Thank you so much. Now,
Can you imagine? Tommy'd be popping them like they were popcorn.
Yeah, well, I didn't know he
we
was
didn't tell you
delivering.
that he wasn't here. That's why he's got so
Eat them
many.
all.
That's it. Alberto Rossi from the Intercontinental
Thank you
Hotel
very
in
much.
Dublin. Thank you so much. Have a
Love
great
it.
holiday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, in the final hour of Ireland AM, Tommy checks out Limerick's brand new rugby experience, and he is joined this time because we've seen him all morning and the place looks gorgeous. His old teammate, Brian O'Driscoll, and Brian Habana, I think, as well, is going to be there.
plus new season trends on the catwalk and awesome Lego art. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Hello and welcome back to the International Rugby Experience here in Limerick. I have been here all morning. I've been put through my paces by former Irish captain Ciara Griffin. I can't believe Derek actually beat me in a passing challenge. I don't think I'm ever going to live that one down. Coming up in about 20 minutes or so, I'm going to be talking to former teammates and rivals. Brian O'Driscoll and Bryan Habana are both here. We're going to be discussing all sorts with them. Really looking forward to it as well. And I'm loving this picture wall. I've been literally watching it for the last half an hour, talking about iconic moments and iconic rugby players, and well, I haven't really featured on it yet, but hopefully if we keep watching for any minute now, I'll definitely be here somewhere. So back to you guys in studio, and I'll just keep watching.
We're just putting at the clock there. Surely we'll hear Royal Nugent in a second. Shout out Tommy Bowe. It's what we're waiting for. It's what we're waiting for, babe.
Surely.
And coming up back here in studio, something that Tommy would absolutely adore. He is a man who loves Lego. Lego master artist Jessica Farrell is going to tell us how you turned your hobby of Lego into a dream job.
That's right.
Your job is creating Lego.
It is. I get to play all day and call it work.
Like, it's so amazing. I'm just fascinated what you do, and some of the things you create are amazing.
Thank you very much. I enjoy it.
Yeah, if your kids are at home, this is what they might want to end up doing when they grow up. We've got Alan. What have you got coming up?
Well, Mandy Maher is showing us some new season styles. Good morning to Mandy.
Good morning
what have you
to you,
got for
Alan.
us?
Well, this morning it's about different trends that are coming in for the summer, and it's all about sheer, lace, a little bit of colour, and that's what we're showcasing here this morning. Some beautiful pieces actually today.
Very nice. Quite see-through this.
It is, yeah, a little bit daring. We're sure, for this hour of the morning, hello.
I'm telling you.
We're not going to say no.
But looking lovely now.
Thank you.
Well, if you're wearing that type of dress, will the weather hold up for that, Derek?
Hope so.
Yeah, well, Al, I'm still basking in glory here. I cannot believe I whipped Tommy Bowe's ass in a passing challenge. The weather's holding here in Limerick. Can we take a look at this stunning building here just over my shoulder? That is the brand new International Rugby Experience building right slap bang here in the heart of O'Connell Street in Limerick. It's open to the public today. But guys, it's a win for Limerick. Back to studio.
Woo! Welcome back. And now we have been all over the place, and we're not just talking geographically today. We've been talking about paternity, SUVs,
We certainly
overcrowding
have.
prisons, lots of messages coming in, and thank you very much for them.
And the SVU, I keep saying Special Victims Unit.
So every time he loves Law and Order.
Law and Order Special Victims Unit. So
Dun-dun.
SVU, Special Victims Unit. But we're talking about SUVs this morning. And we were saying...
Sorry, I'm just thinking of you and Olivia Benson. Amazing.
Me and Olivia Benson, yeah. And Rona says, I drive a plug-in hybrid. My daily commute is 160 kilometres round trip. My car gives me 40k per charge, which takes 5 hours to charge. I have to plug my car in at a Tesco, which was grand, but then I first got it. But the price on average of £2.80 per charge. Now the fee has doubled per charge, averaging around €5. And this is what we were talking about.
Electricity's gone up.
Electricity's gone up. And that, electric cars, and we heard that the grants that you get from an electric car is going down from 5,000 to 3,500.
Now, isn't there a day that you can pick under some plans that you get your electricity for free? Under some plans, you get the power for free.
Do you?
Yeah. Because I know someone who has this, and they charge their car, they do all their washing, they put on the dryer, they do everything on this one day under the plan that they have.
But Rona is saying she wants to change her car, and I'll definitely not be getting another plug-in hybrid for the foreseeable future. It's just a waste of time, and she wants to trade it in now to go back to petrol, and
And this is the proposal from Professor Brian Caulfield, a transport professor, who says that SUVs should be banned because of the emissions, and even with hybrid or electric cars, they're not seeing the reduction in emissions that they're giving. I have a small SUV because I have inflammatory arthritis. We mentioned this earlier on. People have conditions, and I need the extra height to get in and out of my car comfortably. I live in the country, and I cannot afford to buy an EV with or without the grant. If I have to give up my SUV, then I will be housebound because I have no public transport near me.
See, this is the problem,
It's not feasible for an awful lot of people.
Yeah.
But I know loads of people, you need it for the height to be able to get in and out of the car.
But we were talking earlier on as well, maybe you've seen this, that people they might have a small family or just 2 people in a family, and they're driving big Land Rovers or Range Rovers, and there was sort of a discussion on that, whether that should be allowed.
Yeah, as to whether we should look at who it is that have them. Listen, lots of messages on this. We probably will cover it in the future because people have very strong opinions on it. So thank you so much for all the messages today.
Now, from Rugby Legends to Lego art, there's plenty more still to come in Ireland AM after this quick break.
Up next, Tommy is going to be catching up with Bod. You know him, right?
Brian O'Driscoll.
There we go.
There we go.
Who he is.
Look at that.
See you shortly on Ireland AM. Wow, is that because of Amy? Surprised how into this you are getting, of all people, because he's like, OK, the All Blacks are New Zealand, the Wallabies are Australia.
Yeah, South Africa is...
It begins with S. The Springboks.
Springboks.
The Springboks. It was on the tip of his tongue. Now, I don't know if Tommy's going to know any of those things. Tommy is in Limerick with some world-class rugby players this morning. So he's staying in Adare Manor, and he's working now, apparently, but he's actually just catching up with his old mates.
Give him a break. He's gone on all morning about Adare Manor. Tommy, I hope you enjoyed Adare Manor last night. Who have you got there with you now?
Thank you very much, guys. Yes, Alan, I can't believe you wanted to actually come down here and you didn't even know who the Springboks were. This is big, big trouble. But yes, I am in the International Rugby Experience here in Limerick, being joined by legends right through the morning, and right now is no different, of course. I am with the former Irish captain, Brian O'Driscoll, most cap player for Ireland ever.
For now.
For now, OK. And, of course, well, pretty much the fastest man in rugby back. Well, second to myself, of course, is World Cup winner Brian Habana as well. Welcome to you both, guys. Listen, it's a really special occasion here in Limerick, and what an iconic building to celebrate what is special about the great game of rugby, Brian. Have you been impressed with what they've done here?
It's amazing. It starts with the architecture, and the building is magnificent. I think did someone say there's 500,000 bricks involved in the setup of it? But I'm going to go with that number. No one's going to challenge me anyway.
Up there with your caps and
but it's just the interactive nature. I think it's for rugby lovers, but I think you get a real sense of the fun side that kids would enjoy with the footwork and the kicking and all the components of just sport lovers in general. So they've done a phenomenal job, and some of us are featuring. some less so, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's no big deal, is it? You know, listen, like... yeah, I mean, well, you're a World Cup winner and former player of the year, and I mean, I think I am in the video where I actually passed the ball to you when you score a try, so I'll take that.
It was a good pass. It was a good pass.
Thank you.
Knee high?
Stop it. So tell us, what was it like when you got asked to be involved in being a part of something like this?
Yeah, Thomas, I think for all of us that have played the game, that we've all become a part of a loving environment. The fabric that sort of knits the rugby community together is something extremely special. You know, they do say it's a hooligans game played by gentlemen and women, and I think the moments of enjoyment, despair, sorrow, and victory, culminates in us resembling something truly special. And to be a part of an experience like this that, yes, gives those that are potentially purists and love the game a great insight into it, but those that don't understand, then get an understanding of how powerful the sport of rugby is, and to have the privilege and honour of not just being a part of it, but coming to the inaugural launch was pretty special, alongside some absolute legends. So it's pretty special, and hopefully it does create a restoration in a town that has its entrenched values within rugby. Tormund Park, just a throw across the way. You go up to the 6th floor, you see 800-year-old castle, which makes, again, O'Connell. It is Paul O'Connell's street.
Paul O'Connell Street, pretty much, well, that's what he's claiming as chairman of this whole building and stuff as well. How are you finding life after rugby for you, Brian? Because, I mean, you did have an epic career, but you seem to be jet-setting. Anytime I watch you online, you're in a different country, in a different part of the world. How have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the Dad of the Year 2024 goal going.
It's not going to be this year, anyway.
Yeah, this year's pretty tough. I've been really fortunate. Got taken under the wing by one great Brian and Driscoll with the HSBC crew that really allowed me to sort of spread my wings and get a better understanding of a bit of an ambassadorial role. But I've started a fintech company just over 4 years ago now, and sort of literally had a call pre this to actually do my shareholder duty at some point. Got KPI performance reviews and scorecards for my 9 direct reports happening end of May. So
who are you?
Okay. I mean, where did that come into racing against a cheetah? I mean,
tortoise is not.
Well, but I mean, like when you're doing things like that, racing a cheetah, like it's a different world completely, isn't it?
It is a very different world. I think as a professional athlete, the transition period is always going to be the toughest environment that you go through. You've only known something for 10 or 15 years, and you step into corporate, you don't know how to pivot table on an Excel spreadsheet or do a PowerPoint presentation and have to do KPI performance reviews. You have to learn a lot about yourself. There's obviously the mental wellness aspect as well that's really important. So I've been fortunate to be, have given opportunities, but in being able to have that transitional period of skill set, I think it's pretty cool. So not quite where I want to be, but...
I mean, you might not be able to hit KPIs and whatever else, but we're seeing footage of you here pretty much. I'm going to give you the win against the cheetah on that, which is pretty impressive.
It was a clear-cut victory, wasn't it?
Clear-cut victory. You did a documentary recently as well, After the Roar, about retiring and that transition into life after sport. How have you found that transition?
Yeah, I think, from the outside, people kind of go, oh, you made a seamless transition. It was far from it. I think, myself, Brian, Dan Carter, John de Villiers all had
dinner there, yeah, nice.
Had dinner last September.
Missed the invite on that one as well, did I?
It was in Cape Town. You can get to
I was very busy. Ireland AM gets in the way of all these shows, you see.
We had dinner together, and it was funny. Like lots of World Cup winners and World Cup participants, and the commonality was everyone has really struggled in some capacity coming out of it. I think when you leave something you love doing, I was lucky to do it for 15 years. You try and replace it initially, and then you realise there is no replacing it, and then ultimately it's time, the distance from the game, and finding purpose elsewhere, and finding kind of joy in some of the smaller things rather than playing in front of 70 or 80,000 people, but it's definitely a big adjustment. And yeah, I think the problem now is that with social media, and if you do travel around the world, people are like, oh, you're with him, you're jet setting around the place. It's not as good as international rugby.
No.
What we're doing now is not as good. But you got to park that part of your life and then play or move forward with the idea that there's still great days ahead. They're going to be different, but they're not going to be what you experienced previously.
And the museum here, it's based on rugby values, the likes of integrity and respect, solidarity, things that were so fundamental in the game that we grew up on. But the game's changed a huge amount as well. Like even from your kids' point of view, like do you enjoy taking the kids to are they involved in mini rugby? Do you enjoy kind of the the values of what rugby has to offer.
Yeah, because I think in all of the concerns around head injuries and concussions, I think it's really important to give balance to the upside, the uplift of what we all experience and why we're huge advocates for the game. I didn't want to actually get my daughter had no interest in playing rugby, but I didn't even have an interest in getting my son to play until COVID came along, and he said it's one of the things that they're still able to do outdoors. I want to play. Okay. Anyway, we got into it, and now he's actually part of an under-8 teams in St Mary's with Johnny Sexton's young fella as well. So the two of us are standing on the sidelines, scrutinising every word that comes out of the coach's mouth.
Got the little GPS monitors on the back.
But it's and my little fella had broke a bone for the first time in October, and you're kind of going, oh God, that's too young at 7. But then he's running back in and firing into it as if nothing ever happened when he recovered from it. So there's something pure about that as well. And I think, do you know what, they'll find their own way. If rugby's his thing, fine. If soccer's his thing, which he actually prefers more, let him do that as well. And you find your own.
You agree with this as well with your own children?
Yeah, I think there's two things in terms of the values, respect and discipline, that really do transcend purely the rugby field. I think respect for yourself and that work rate, effort, dedication you put into whatever you do, whether it be sport, culture. My little boy does rugby, cricket, soccer, plays the guitar and the piano at 9 years old. But then just the element of discipline that we get taught as rugby players that you then can transcend into the business world, into corporate. So I think those are two core values that as parents you'd love to instill in your children, but grateful that we got to learn those while playing the game.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. Now, Brian, Six Nations has just finished not too long ago. Ireland doing so well at the minute. I have to ask you though, you've become a bit of a fashionista with the glasses, but you haven't worn them today. So
no, they're over there. Well, do you want them?
Yeah. I mean, because Amy's giving you a bit of a hard time with these glasses. Do you actually need glasses?
I do need them for TV, right? So I have them, but I don't want to put them on because as soon as I put them on,
I can see perfectly.
You look great. You look great.
That's the statement.
This is actually, so I see what you're doing.
Try and read something then, smart arse.
Okay. So, Brian, we know that Amy loves the glasses. Seems to be working okay.
They go really well, though, with the XV clothing.
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't know if we're allowed to talk about that.
Everything goes well with that, Brian. So it does.
But I couldn't see graphics on TV. That was the thing. So, I was having to memorize them, which is not one of my strengths. So, before doing rehearsals and production meetings, I'd be looking at them going, okay, I remember that. I thought maybe I should go and see an obstetrician, which I did. Not an obstetrician, an ophthalmologist.
An obstetrician would have been an interesting
not one of them.
Conversation.
Not one of them. Yeah, I went to see with them. They said, no, go over to this person. So.
The optician, wrong office.
Anyway, I got myself a pair of glasses.
Very good. Well, the glasses probably won't make it in here with your jerseys, I'm sure, everything else. What about the blonde hair? Surely that's an iconic moment.
And the gloves.
The gloves as well. I'm sure they've made it in it as well.
Do you ever wear gloves?
I did, and I dropped the ball once, and that was the end of it. But what about the blonde hair? Did anybody, the hairdresser, cut all those locks off? Because they're a huge part of, they were epic O'Driscoll back in 04.
Yeah, they were. That's correct. The internet is cruel. There was different. Actually, 03, I quite liked the blonde hair. It was a bit, and then I went yellow. Okay. So whatever about blonde, but then it went yellow in 04. I lost the run of myself. So
and what about, you've retired a couple of years as well, like you, Brian, but you're still working out because you're still well able to put the old
guns are a joke.
Yeah,
still.
don the speedos as well, and I think we have a picture of you even with a unicorn.
Let's not bring those out anymore. I think December was the first time where I actually took my top off, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, look at this. This is
sweet cabinet.
That's a good angle there. I tell you what, life after rugby's treating you okay.
I was on a unicorn.
You were.
I'll get better.
On a unicorn. Okay, listen, we have to ask you quickly, Ireland against South Africa in the same pool going into the World Cup. Have you been impressed with how Ireland have been going, and what do you expect going into that World Cup?
Unbelievably impressed. I think South Africa had a great Autumn Nations series in terms of going against France and Ireland up north, and came unstuck in both games, but it sort of tees up the game of the 23rd of September really well. Ireland, deservedly #1 team in the world after the incredible Grand Slam, and with themselves and France, definitely the teams to beat. But hoping that South Africa can create history as
well. Be careful, now you haven't left the country just yet. And quickly, Leinster against La Rochelle, what ways do you see that going?
And it's always, finals are always tight, and the fact that La Rochelle have beaten them the last 2 years, it'll mean that Leinster will be a little bit more, a little bit more concerned. But I think if it's in Dublin, if they can play the way they have done, and they let themselves down the final last year, and they know it, and I think they're really using that to fuel their fire. So I fancy Leinster will get it done, but it won't be anything like some of the runaway victory we've seen so far in the competition.
Absolutely, some brilliant rugby to look forward to. This Brian O'Driscoll, Brian Habana, great to have you with us here at the International Rugby Exhibition here in Limerick. If you are close by, it opens in about 5 minutes' time, so make sure to get down today. Back to you guys in studio.
Tommy, you've taken full advantage of showing the embarrassing pictures of the boys there now. Do you think that we should show some of yours?
No, there's no need for any embarrassing pictures of me, thanks. I'm doing the question. They've made enough of a fool out of me. I haven't even featured in this place.
Oh, if we can get Tommy's, we'll graffiti your name on the wall. Someone will do that for you later on. And we might have some Tommy pictures coming out of the Speedo pictures and blonde pictures coming up.
Speedo pictures of Tommy?
There's
I've never seen them.
I haven't seen them either. I haven't seen them either. Tommy, we've got a surprise for you before 10 o'clock, and also on the way before 10. Tommy in the Speedo.
There we go. That'll be a first.
And
for me.
We've got new season style trends plus turning toys into works of art.
We'll see you after this quick break.
Welcome back to Ireland AM. It's time for today's fashion slot.
From lovely lace to fabulous fringing. And she's always fabulous. Mandy Maher is going to show us her top
What
tip.
an intro. I'm
Fabulous fringing.
fashion slot this morning.
You better have some fringing now.
I've lots of fringing going on this morning.
Oh, she got the notes. She
I
sent
won't
the
be
notes.
disappointing. You'll be fine.
So what we're going to look at, we've got trends and what we're going to do with it, right?
Exactly. So this season, different trends that's obviously coming out for 2023 summer. So it's all about, as we said, fringing. It's all about sheer material. It's all about the cobalt blue. So it's just about different pieces that we should incorporate in our wardrobe.
Lovely. Let's have a look at Dervla with the first look. Yeah.
So Dervla with our first look, and I'm absolutely loving this. And this is actually from the House of Logo, which is a new boutique that's literally actually only opened up a couple of weeks ago in Naas. But we're starting off with this great suit.
Very cool.
It's cool, isn't it? And you know what I love about this suit is the fact that you could actually roll this in a ball and it needs no ironing. So for me, this is a big must.
Oh.
It's great. It's a lovely little travel piece as well, like, you know, and I'm loving this, as I said, little crop trousers, as we can see in a gorgeous blazer, that we can mix and match with other pieces if we were going on holidays.
Yeah, so like that blazer.
You can buy them separately.
You can indeed. And again, like that, lovely little pockets. As you said, it's 3/4 length and it works. And as I said, I would wear this for going on holidays. I love it.
Really, no iron?
And need no ironing, which is a big plus, isn't it?
At all?
No ironing
Even
whatsoever.
if you roll it up?
Even if you roll it up, this needs no ironing.
Okay, I'm going to try that now. You take that off, roll it up, and then open it again.
Oh, you're really testing me. I love it.
Now we've got fringing in the top.
We do indeed. So we're going with this beautiful top, and it's all the fringing can be very fun and it can be very playful. And this is more probably of a pared back style of fringing with this gorgeous T-shirt, as we see here. So if you're not the person that wants to be overpowered with it, this is adding a little bit of what's going to be on fashion.
Sleeves are very unusual on this.
And they're gorgeous, little frill and sleeve as well. And again, like that, it works perfectly with the suit. You could easily pop a lot of different tops with this, but I think this works absolutely perfect with it.
Lovely. And you have gotten a bag there that picks up on the colours.
We do indeed. Our bag and shoes today come from Guinan's Footwear, which is in Burr in County Offaly. And I'm loving this bag because the bag is actually recyclable leather, which is really clever. And the little zebra strap that you see here, what you can do is you can actually pop it off and you can actually change it around if you want it to a different colour as well. So
right.
Nice.
So it looks like a different bag.
Exactly.
That's good. Very good.
It's a very clever little concept, but I'm loving this. And then we teamed it up then with these great wedges, as you can see here, like that. Again, very, very comfortable. Ideal for the summer, and they'll go with so much. But I'm loving these because I think they work really particularly well with the trousers as well.
Lovely and great, comfortable to walk around, all that kind of stuff. Now, can we talk about the sunglasses?
I know.
They are beautiful.
Honest to God, I need to be locked up when it comes to sunglasses. Literally, the thing about designer sunglasses, but all of our glasses today are from Athlone Opticians, but I'm loving these. These are Saint Laurent sunglasses.
Right.
Okay, They're expensive, but they're definitely an investment piece.
But do you not sit in them and lose them? That's why
you absolutely do not. You definitely mind your sunglasses when you have
I've
them.
lost them or sat on them or...
I do think there are two people in this world. There's people who can pack and people who can't pack, people who can keep sunglasses and people who can't keep sunglasses.
Yeah, I can.
Do you know?
Okay.
So you're like, don't bother spending money on
Dervla,
them.
roll that in a ball. That's soon. I want to see that it doesn't crease.
Oh, God, you're definitely tested this morning.
Who's on it this morning? Kate, she's here with our second look.
So Kate is looking absolutely incredible, and this is the colour of this year, which is the cobalt blue, as you can see here in this gorgeous jumpsuit. It's definitely the forefront of 2023. Last year we were seeing all about magenta. This year's about the cobalt blue.
Yeah, and it has been worn so well by, I think, Viola Davis has worn it a few times on the red carpet, and she's really put it in my brain. She just wears it so well. This is gorgeous.
Isn't it
so
fabulous? And it's definitely a beautiful piece, particularly if you have a special occasion coming up. And I like that we styled it off the shoulder, which is a Bardot style. If you want to just maybe pop one side up, you can definitely play around with the styling of the top part of the jumpsuit.
And it does look like it's going to, because it's cinched in at the waist.
Correct.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not going to fall down.
Nice on it as well.
Exactly, as well. But it's beautiful, and it is very vibrant.
Lovely little bag with it.
Yeah, then with the bag then is a beautiful little pearl bag, which I'm absolutely loving. Again, it's adding giving that little bit of a dressier edge, I suppose, to give it the full look, particularly if you do have a special occasion. Bags like these, you'll pull them out time and time again. They never, we know that from going to events, they never go out of fashion. And then
bit of bling on the shoes.
Yeah, so then we went with a little bit of bling on the shoes then, but I'm absolutely loving the shoes as well, because they're actually very bridal probably style shoes, which easier bride could wear. But again, like that, it's letting you know that you can also wear with an outfit like this as well. These shoes are actually from Guinan's in Borough as well.
They're Guinan's on the back. Is the bag from
Guinan's as well, correct, yes.
Lovely. And the sunglasses today?
And then our sunglasses are from Athlone Opticians, but I'm loving these. These are Gucci, which of course are with the double G logo, as we can see here. Again, oversizing, that's what it's all about, but it really absolutely fabulous. And it finishes off the full look. Is that real chic look thing coming in here? I am really looking
beautiful.
The part.
Absolutely gorgeous. It's a great jumpsuit.
Isn't it fabulous? Yeah. And Kate is actually 5'11". I want to mention that, so the jumpsuit's probably slightly a little bit shorter on her, but
it will probably kick the ground for an awful lot of people. Alan is here with our third look today.
And Alan is making her debut on Ireland AM with us this morning, but I'm loving this, and this is what we're on about. You were saying, Alan, earlier, this is a little bit on the risky side. This is all about sheer. We're going to see a massive amount of sheer coming through in textures this season. It's going to be absolutely huge, mixed with a little bit of lace. It's beautiful. It has an underskirt underneath in the nude shade, and it's just very elegant. It's beautiful. To me, it needs very little added to it, because it just does what it does.
It kind of doesn't, yeah, sorry, Maureen, it doesn't look as risque in here. Outside in the sunlight, you actually didn't see the skirt underneath as such, and I was going, is she wearing anything else?
It's come definitely is. But from Mr. Self-Portrait is definitely a thing that was going on, and Claudia Winkleman was doing an awful lot of it, and it's really great fashion trend.
Yeah, it really is, and it's beautiful and it's elegant. Now you see this like cut-out piece there in the centre of that, but I mean it works, and it's not showing too much skin either. But as I said, it's beautiful, it's elegant. Sheer is going to be one part of 23, and you need to have it in your wardrobe.
Do you think Mandy Maher brought something on just wearing her knickers and a lace dress?
Literally, you couldn't see it underneath, and I was going, I thought it all... Yeah,
Now, where is the bag from today?
I'm risque, but not that risque.
Not that risque.
But anyhow,
where's the bag from?
The bag is actually from Polka Dot Fashion. This full look is from Polka Dot Fashion. They're an online company, the dress and the bag. But I'm loving this, and again, like that, it's that beautiful gold chain as well on the bag to give that little bit more of an expensive look too.
And then with the shoes?
And the shoes, then we're back to Guinan's shoes. And again, like that, we could have gone with lots on the footwear with this, but I decided to go with the heel on these. And again, they're very, very comfortable. They are high, but they actually are quite comfortable.
They look lovely. Now the glasses, what have you done to
And then with the glasses, then it's all about the Prada with these ones. And as I said, they are an investment piece, but I'm obsessed with designer sunglasses, but these are absolutely
Do you
fabulous.
Invest in a good
Absolutely, always do.
Wood as well.
Yeah, always would. I love a good pair of sunglasses. And these are the Prada, as you can see here on the side, but are beautiful again. And they just give that little bit of extra edge, I think, to it.
Listen, my sunglasses I've had for, I think, 15 years.
Same.
And how do you not lose them or sit on them, or do you keep them in the box?
They give you cases.
Yeah.
You put them in the case.
Oh, lads.
So you need a handbag.
Do you never leave them on a table or anything like
No,
that?
Oh God, no. Our glasses are like our mobile phones.
I suppose if you paid 300
Yeah,
quid,
you
but you're
definitely
looking
don't.
I can remember to pick up my coffee cup. I can remember to pick up my sunglasses. Oh, Dervla, this is lovely.
Beautiful. And Dervla, actually, I'm laughing at this because she's already bought this dress before we even came on air. It's hilarious. It's from Polka Dot Fashions, but I love it. It's fabulous on her. It's in the gold, as you can see, the polka dot. It has that lace trim, and lace, again, is going to be a big texture for the season coming through for 23.
That is beautiful.
It's fabulous, isn't it? And it's
you
lovely.
Wear it to absolutely anything.
Well,
yeah, and it is just, it's elegant. It oozes elegance. Teamed it off then with this gorgeous little bag then as well. And the bag itself is like a little box bag. It's kind of very feminine, I think.
It's really
Isn't
cool.
it
It's very throwback to the 60s, Jackie O.
Yes,
it's class.
absolutely.
Love that.
And from Guinans then we see, again, with the bag are these beautiful wedges. Now, we decided to go a little bit more bolder with this by adding the colour. Yeah. And I think it gives a little bit more edgier look to finish off the look with something a bit different. Our footwear from Guinans in Burr.
And then the sunglasses.
And then the sunglasses then are from Athlone Opticians, and these are the YSL, of course, with the YSL logo just on the lens as well. But I'm loving these.
You oh,
I'm
look at her.
yeah, I am got
you're
it.
liking the Saint
Nothing like it.
There we go. They're beautiful.
Yeah, and it's nice to see the different trends coming through. To keep in mind the colours of the blue, then of course the lace, and of course the sheer as well.
Mandy,
Gorgeous,
it's always
Mandy.
a pleasure.
Thank you both.
Thank you so much. Lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much. Now, coming up after the break, it's just below there. We've got a little dinosaur look. Here we go. Look at this.
Are we going to see it? A Lego Master.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Now you're delighted. Lego Master artist is going to be giving us a lesson in building with bricks in its art. We'll talk to you shortly on Ireland AM.
Staying with us now. If you have children at home, you're probably all too familiar with Lego and having them scattered all around the house.
You've crippled yourself with Lego. You stood on the Lego.
Stood on the Lego,
Why
yeah.
have I done this with my life? Why are my toes so sore? But you mightn't have known that it is a viable career option. Lego artist Jessica Farrell is here with more. Jessica, it is so lovely to meet you because
Lovely to be here.
you are a full-time Lego brick artist. What
That's
does
right.
that involve?
Well, I tell people that it means I get to play with bricks all day and make the excuse that it's my job.
And when did you start this then?
Oh, as a career, I sort of eased into it from being a hobbyist to part-time. And then when my hobby took more time than my job, I decided, well, this has to become my job, otherwise I won't get a minute's rest.
What was your job?
I'm a horticulturist.
All right.
So it's a massive step, although I do have the same sort of organic, plants and colour combinations. Everything that I put into creating, say, a beautiful hanging basket, I now do in a beautiful diorama.
Because they're both very creative enterprises,
Yes.
that should have doubt. But I think watching Lego Masters, the television show, which you took part in.
We were in the pilot, the very, very first Lego Masters, the guinea pig one that started it all. Yes.
So was that where people saw you online doing your thing? Like that you had been... Because the hobby community for Lego, it's very big.
It's massive. Actually, I was exhibiting with my son in, I think it was Brick Live in London, and we were approached by the producers-to-be of what was then called Masters of Lego working title.
Yeah.
And they said, we'd love to have you on the show.
Because it is just fascinating, because when you look into this and you see how huge the community is, like I live with someone who gets Lego and sits down and he finds it so therapeutic and so calming, and that is his wellness sort of activity.
Adult fan of Lego.
Adult fan of Lego, so that's the thing. And there you go. I'll be calling him Apple every day now. All right, Apple, how's it going? I love you, Apple. So when it has become a viable career for so many people, and how is that? Is that because Lego are like, well, you start making stuff for us, or people start commissioning you to do stuff for them?
Most of us are freelancers. I have engaged with the Lego group and I've collaborated with them on a number of projects, but I am a freelancer. I'm not an employee of Lego, so I have the freedom to create what I like, and it's great fun. It's wonderful.
Now, some of them you've done some major projects, and some of them was the Liberty. It's a massive design store in London, across from the London Palladium.
Beautiful
it's
store.
A beautiful store. I was literally there 2 months ago. So if we have a look at the pictures of this, how long did this take you to do? And how many pieces of Lego are in this?
I don't have off by heart how many. I know it's
Look
over
at it.
150,000 pieces. There's interior as well as the exterior. Every floor is lit with all of the merchandise on display and all the shoppers and everything. It took a year.
That took a year?
Took a year to make, yes.
So did they say, we've a budget and you work within our budget? And is that now on display?
That is on display in the store, yes. It's been moved around a bit from various departments. I believe right now it's in the customer service section.
Can you imagine being the poor fella being told, will you move the Lego Liberty? And you'd be like, oh my God, I can't handle this.
Was that one of your favourite pieces, or has there been favourite pieces that you've done over the years?
Every piece turns into my baby.
Oh,
I pour
really?
a lot of myself into each one, so I'm sort of emotionally connected to everything that I create.
I think we should have some more looks, like you've done Glendalough.
Yes, that was wonderful because I don't get to do enough Irish models, and that was commissioned by the Glendalough Heritage Forum.
Look at the round tower. How high would that be?
That's 60 centimetres tall.
OK, so we've got 2 rulers from school. That's how high it is.
Yeah, and it's 1.5 metres by just under 2 metres. Well, actually, just over 2 metres. It's been on display in the National Museum, and it's going back to the Glendalough Visitor Centre soon.
That is so beautiful. There's not. What else do we have here? You've got Her Majesty's Theatre or the Cathedral, or what's that?
That's the Dragon's Hoard.
Dragon's
That's
Hoard.
currently on display in Lego House in Billund, the Masterpiece Gallery, which was a great honour to be on display.
Is that from Dublin?
No, that same source material.
So beautiful. Now, you're going to set it myself, and we're in a little challenge here this morning. Now, when you see some of these pieces, so you've given us some pieces here, like we're seeing all the dinosaurs around here. You want us maybe just to do a little baby dinosaur.
When I do exhibitions, we often try to do interactive activities with families and children, because it's not just about, look at my model, it's also look and get inspiration, create some of your own. So I've got 3 little models that we usually give to kids to try out.
So we're going to have a little
you're going to
try
have
here.
a minute to take the same pieces.
Okay, a minute. Okay, well, let's do a minute.
We've got 30 seconds. Let's go.
Okay, and you are going to try to create your own version using the pieces that have been used to make these dinosaurs.
Okay.
You'll have to go quickly. And
I was going to say, I can't even get them on.
Go really, really fast. And be as creative as you like. Just grab.
Okay.
And we'll have
So look at, while we're doing this, Tommy is standing by in Limerick, who's had a great morning there. Tommy, you're there. Oh, look at him. Are you going to do another challenge, Tommy? We're doing our challenge here.
Oh, listen, I've had plenty of challenges this morning. Thanks very much, guys. Yeah, it's been a fantastic morning here at the International Rugby Experience. It really is a fun place to be. We can see pushing here on the right-hand side up against the likes of Tyke Furlong. You've Johnny Wilkinson teaching you how to kick over there. And actually, Brian O'Driscoll is actually over there, being put through his paces in a passing challenge. I wish he had done that back whenever I played alongside him. We've had Francois Pienaar, Ciara Griffin, Brian Habana, Keith Wood, Brian O'Driscoll, so many more. If you're in Limerick, make sure to get down here and check it out. I will see you tomorrow morning, guys, bright and early in the studio. Tell us what's coming up.
We'll miss you so much.
Right.
Look at you.
Look,
he made a thing.
I made a thing.
You're having a
prehistoric elephant.
You could be.
You're doing an exhibition of all of your fabulous dinosaurs on Dino Day, 6th of May in Kildare Town.
Kildare Town Library, yes.
Kildare
so where
Town
people
Library.
get to try to do some of these.
You're going to get to be better than us. It'll be fantastic. And you've got books out on how to build a Lego and everything like that.
And we've lots on the show tomorrow from 7 till 10. Have a great day. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Come on, keep building.